Yo, and hello everybody, Mike here, baseball collector, and today I'm going to be doing the first of two parts. I'm going to do my top 50 cards in my collection. I've done this video the last several years, and I love drawing this line in the sand and looking back and going, man, what was in the top 50 last year or the year before? And just observing how my collection has evolved and changed over time. It's just kind of fun, and to see where values were and where they are now, and just I find it interesting, and so that's super fun to me to do. And so what I'm going to do today is the number 50 down to 26, and then the second part of the video, the second half, another video in the next day or two, will be 25 down to 1. And I'll give you a hint, number 1 hasn't changed since last year. But it is interesting to see how many things have changed and how many cards move into the top 50, out of the top 50. I have 16 cards actually this year in the top 50 that were not in last year's top 50. Now, 11 of those are just new cards to my collection, cards I didn't own a year ago that I've picked up in 2021. And then 5 of them, excuse me, are cards that have had a rise in value to put them into the top 50. And I'm going to talk about each card and show you. You'll see some, the reason the card stands on the right is I'll show the card, and then I'll have where it was ranked last year, what its current value is, and where it's ranked this year. Thinking through value is, or how do you rank your cards? There's a whole lot of ways to do it. Value is just easy. I can just find it. I use VCP and eBay, and I'm using the last sale of a particular card in the particular grade that I have. It's far from perfect, but it's something, and if I figure if I stay consistent with that over the years, that'll give me a good idea of what things look like. Definitely things have softened price-wise, and so the top 50 even a few months ago would look very different than it does today because things are changing around a lot. So let's start going with number 50 here. This is a card that I love, the Pepto-Bismol card, and I'm going to try to pull up my spreadsheet while I go through this. As you can see, this card was number 30 last year. It's dropped 20 spots. Actually, this card is not that different value-wise. It's only $50 more valuable this year than it was last year, so getting a Bob Gibson rookie is probably a good idea. It's a great classic card, and I absolutely love it. Change the angle here slightly. Let's just drop them all. That's a great idea. So there's number 50. Here we go. Let's keep going. Next up, 1955 Topps Hank Aaron in a PSA 4. Yeah, sorry about that. Julie just called, so I had to pause the video, but yeah, this Hank Aaron, great card. I've owned it for a while now, although it was number 48 last year, so not really a lot of movement up or down the spectrum on this card, but second year Hank, totally awesome. You'll see some more Hank Aaron later. This card surprised me that it was so high last year. It was number 26 last year, and that's the Albert Pujols Chrome Traded Rookie. Absolutely great card. Pujols last year, this year, retiring. For sure, first ballot Hall of Famer, and this is kind of the card to get for him. I have it in a mint 9, and surprisingly valuable card. But again, it's one of those that hasn't changed a lot in a year either. It had a peak and kind of a spike, but come back down to earth a little bit. Still a cool card. A lot of sideways stuff. This is the second 55 Topps card we've had in this run. The Ted Williams, have that in a 4. Ted Williams stuff is, you're going to see quite a few Ted Williams cards. It's like his cards are getting this newfound appreciation, as are some of other vintage players. It's interesting to see how much their values are changing, and Ted's definitely one. He's the first one on this list that was not even in the top 50 last year. So there you go. Move these a little closer. This is the first of many, many, many Mickey Mantles you're going to see in this video. He's just one of those guys that, in terms of cardboard history, he's kind of the man. And I think he's the biggest hobby figure that there is Mickey Mantle. And so his cards just seem to always command tremendous value. And this is a card, again, that wasn't even ranked last year and is this year. Love all my Mantles. And you're going to get to see quite a few of them. You're going to see a lot of this guy, too. It's kind of funny how the icons of the game, their card values are commensurate with their status in the game. And Willie Mays is no different. One of the greatest players of all time, certainly in pretty much everybody's top 5 of all time. Here's his beautiful 54 tops in a PSA 4. Next up, this is a card that's hard to value. This is a card that doesn't sell very often in this grade, especially with this grading company. So you got a Zach Wheat rookie card. This is his T206. It's the only graded T206 card I have in my entire collection, and it was a gift several years ago from Ryan, Hot Corner Collection. He gave that to me at the National, and I absolutely love it. So I'm kind of guessing at the value on this, what I put up on the screen, but I don't even know what this card would go for. I might be way underselling it or way overselling it, but it's a great, beautiful card. Hall of Famer rookie card. More Mantle. 57 tops, PSA 3. I've had this card in my collection for a long time, and it's just one of those that is iconic, really. The pose, the picture. I wish I had a higher grade in this card. This has been slabbed forever. I mean, it's got a 0 on the front of the certification number, but really glad to have dang near every Mantle. This is a 2021 pickup. I think it's the first one I'm showing that I actually picked up this year, and that's the T207 Tris Speaker. This is a card that's in the 300 Great Cards by Mike Payne set. It's my first Tris Speaker card. I consider Tris Speaker one of the greatest shortstops. Or I'm sorry, Tris Speaker played center field, I think. I don't know what I'm thinking. I'm thinking shortstop. That's wrong. Let's see what it says on the back. Yep. Tris Speaker, one of the great outfielders of the game, is a Texan who first won fame with the Little Rock Club of the Southern League. So, yeah, center fielder Tris Speaker. Absolutely great card. I just love this. It's a 1, and you'll see that a lot, actually. I've picked up big cards this year in very low grades just to have them, because I just want to own the card, and this is a way to do it. So there's the Speaker. Another 2021 pickup. Got this one at the last Dallas Card Show. The 1954 Bowman Ted Williams in a 1.5 SGC. This will be the only SGC slab you see in the top 50. But been really hunting this card for a long time. It's a absolutely gorgeous example for the numeric grade, assigned grade that it has. Thrilled to death to finally have this card in my collection, no matter what slab it's in. Just happy to own it. So great card. All right, so that was number 50 or 41. Now we're getting into the top 40 here. Thank you, Casey Kasem. Top 40. That may date me quite a bit. 1960 tops, Mickey Mantle. Again, Mantle will make several appearances here. 1960 tops, great card. One of my favorite, if not my favorite, vintage set of all time is 1960. Let's look at a little Jackie. His stuff has really just exploded in terms of card values. People just, how can you not love Jackie Robinson, what he means to the game? His impact just as a human being is amazing. And I think a lot of people are appreciating that and wanting to get cards to commemorate that. This is one of the greatest. His last card, actually, 1956 tops in a PSA 5. This is a card that's been up and down quite a bit. This is the Hank Aaron 58 Topps, but it's the yellow name version. There's a white name version that's much more common. This is significantly more scarce than the traditional version. I don't even have actually the regular version, the white name, only the yellow name. The white name is something I'll probably pick up at some point. And but this is a card that's just seen, it's been well over $1,000 in the last year for this card in this grade, but it's not currently. So it in fact, just a couple months ago it sold for over $1,000, but it's still a great card and good to have it. I love it when these, what's the word I want to use, unusual cards are in the top 50 because they're just so great. The Stam Usual 1954 Red Heart, just the red background, everything about this card is just awesome. And I've had this for a while and glad I picked it up when I did, because it's certainly gotten a lot steeper priced. So really glad to add that. I'm going to pause here for a second and show you some cards that have made some significant moves. For example, here's a card that was in the top 50 last year and is no longer. In fact, this card last year was number 31, and it's dropped all the way to 52. So the fact that my Nolan Ryan rookie's not in the top 50 is interesting. The card that made the most precipitous drop is actually a basketball card. It's the Luka 2018 Panini Prism in a mint 9. A year ago, this card was selling for about $600. It's now less than $200. You can pick this card up. So it's down about 60%. It went from last year being the number 19 card in my collection. It's now number 140. So it's come back down to earth quite a bit, and but it's still a Luka rookie. Kind of an interesting point. Where are we at? We are on number 36. So 11 more cards to go. 1955 Bowman, Mickey, Mantle. If you own decently graded Mantle cards, they're going to always be up there in terms of their value in your collection. Love that Mantle. It's a pickup I made last year. The Roy Campanella rookie, 49 Bowman, PSA 4. This was a Dallas Card Show pickup, and last October, I think. So I've had it about a year, a little over a year. So glad I got this card when I did. It's definitely worth more than what I paid for it, and not significantly more, but I'm just glad I got it when I did. And one of those great cards, great catcher, great player. This was a very recent pickup from the last Dallas show, actually, 1948 Leaf, Ted Williams. Told you Ted Williams was going to be on this a lot. I just bought this card, and the price hasn't changed much from what I paid for it, but in fact hardly at all, a couple $20 or something. But it's a card I just think it's one of those iconic, beautiful cards. Probably not going to do a whole lot up or down, but just glad to own it. I say that a lot, just glad to own it, but it's true. Like this one, 33 Gowdy Dizzy Dean. This is a 2021 national purchase that I made. I know myself and Don from Don's Field of Dream Cards were both looking for this card at the National. I happened to find one. This was a, I think, first or second day purchase. I saw one, and again at a price I just couldn't pass up. It's actually worth less now. Like, I could pick this card up cheaper, but it's hard to find them. They're not exactly, you know, dozens and dozens of them on eBay at any given time to choose from. And so it's kind of when's the best time to buy a card you really want at a reasonable price is when you see it. And that's kind of how I felt at the National. This card I've had for a long time, and so glad that I've had it a while. The 1948 Swell Sports Thrills, Sport Thrills, Most Dramatic Homer, Ruth, Gehrig, commemorating the homer in the 1932 World Series where he called his shot. And this card is they just don't come up. And it's one of those that's sold a few more times lately, but it's not something you see every day. And so thankfully there are some quote unquote comps to figure this out. But I mean, I paid like $200 for this card several years ago, and to see what it's worth now is pretty neat. And again, not that I'm planning on selling it, but just it's a card that I think is really cool and deserves some appreciation in the hobby, and it's getting it. So another Mantle. This is actually my highest graded Mantle in my entire collection. It's a 64 tops and a PSA 7. I bought this at a card shop in Wichita, Kansas a number of years ago. And just kind of that, man, I've never had a higher graded Mantle. All my stuffs are 2s, 3s, 4s, 5s, and to get kind of that near mint type card was just something on my radar. And the guy at that shop, I was like, well, there's not really anything else here. What will you do for this Mantle? And I ended up getting it in a 7. And high grade Mantles have really gone nuts. If you think the stuff that I've been showing is expensive, really high grade Mantles have gone bananas. So there's that one. Next up is another Roy Campanella. You saw his rookie card earlier. Believe it or not, this card's worth more, and it's not his rookie, and it's because it's a lot more rare of a card to find, and that's the Wilson Franks Roy Campanella. These were issued in hot dog packs, so the condition is always an issue. I mean, can you imagine hot dog juice all over your cards? And that's what's going on with these most of the time. So to get it even graded is great. This one actually happens to be a very well-centered version. Looks a lot like 54 tops, and except it's got a picture of hot dogs on it. But great card, and yeah, worth more than the rookie. But there's a reason. Super cool. Just a couple more today, and we'll move on. This card here, I may need to put it like this, is the 1932 Cinella Margarine Babe Ruth. This is the Type 2 version. There's actually 4 versions of this card with different advertising setups kind of on the back and everything. The front picture is always the same. This was a purchase from Mikey Mantle's card shop a couple of years ago. He always gives me really great deals, which is super nice of him. Little did either one of us know what the card market was going to do, because a lot of these cards in the top 50 now in my collection, I was able to buy from him at super cheap prices. I mean, I paid $200 for this card, and it's now approaching $1,000. So glad glad I bought it when I did. I say that a lot, and it's true. But there's another Ruth. Next up is the 54 tops Jackie, which is again one of those beautiful iconic cards, the 54 tops Jackie Robinson. This is card number 28, so we got 3 more. Yeah, had this a long time. The old can't ever buy too many Jackie Robinsons. This may have actually been one of my first Jackie Robinsons I ever picked up. I can't remember if it was this one or the 56 that I picked up. I know my last one that I picked up is the 55. So I still need to get a rookie. I would love a 48 leaf Jackie or a 49 Bowman, but those are kind of just a little out of the budget right at this moment. Someday. 2 more. This card here, 1948 Bowman Stan Musial rookie. God, I hate that glare. I'll get rid of that. Let's try that. Does that help? A little? Stan Musial rookie is fantastic. It is a card that I bought raw and sent in to get graded. It was actually graded this year at the National. It was a 2-card lot that I purchased from a friend of mine. Ultimately, the rest of the collection was sold to Mikey Mantle's card shop, but to be able to get a couple that I wanted for my collection to send them, take them to the National, get them graded at the National was great. This one came back the exact same grade I thought it would be, and that's exactly what I was hoping. I wanted a 4. I thought it was a 4, and I was paying for a 4, and got a 4. So love that I was able to do that. I don't do that a lot, buy raw cards and then grade them, because there's just a lot of risk with that, and I'd just rather buy a graded card. Like I bought this one. This was a B. Roth 6 purchase. God, it's been a while. I did this card bought this card from him while I was working on the 1940 Play Ball Hall of Famer run, and it's kind of that. It was a 6, certainly higher graded than most of the cards that I have in that set run, but it was just awesome. And Hank Greenberg, I didn't have any other Hank Greenberg cards. I thought, man, if I'm going to get one, let's get a really nice one of Greenberg. Such a great player in the 30. His stats would have been so much more insane without serving in the war, in World War II. But you could say that about a lot of guys, Stan Musial and just so many guys. Gil Hodges even, who just got in the Hall of Fame. All these guys that would have Ted Williams, their stats would be out of this world. Greenberg's were already pretty great, and so deserving of the Hall of Fame. But love that one. Thank you, Brian. And that is it for today. That's my 50 through 26. Hope you enjoyed that. Tune back next time, and we will finish out my top 50 cards in my collection, 26 to all the way to number 1. Catch you soon. Keep collecting.